What's the difference between an equinox and a solstice? Twice a year, the Earth experiences an equinox. Another 2 times per year, the Earth experiences a solstice. What's the difference? Are they the same thing? And what causes them in the first place? What you see. There is a difference between an equinox and a solstice. You could think of them as opposites, in fact. The word solstice comes from the Latin roots sol, meaning sun, and sister, meaning stationary. That refers to the fact that during a solstice, the sun rises and appears to stop in the middle of the sky for a while before it sets. As a result, the summer solstice is the longest day of the year. If you're on the opposite side of the globe from that sunny standstill, you'd experience a winter solstice, the longest night of the year. The winter solstice occurs on December 21st or 22 in the northern hemisphere and on June 20th or 21 in the southern hemisphere. The summer solstice occurs on June 20th or 21 in the northern hemisphere and on December 21st or 22 in the southern hemisphere. The word equinox, on the other hand, comes from the Latin roots equus, meaning equal, and nox, meaning night. You can see where this is going. On the equinox, day and night last for exactly the same amount of time. If you've been trudging your way through the doldrums of winter and hit the vernal, or spring, equinox, this is good news. It means that spring has arrived. If you've been counting down the days left of summer and hit the autumnal, or fall, equinox, you've now marked the start of autumn. The vernal equinox happens right around March 21st in the northern hemisphere and September 23rd in the southern hemisphere. The autumnal equinox occurs near September 23rd in the northern hemisphere and March 21st in the southern hemisphere. What's really happening? To understand why night and day shift so much throughout the year, not to mention why the weather changes, you need to picture the Earth as it circles the sun. Our planet doesn't sit directly upright as it rotates. Its axis of rotation is actually tilted by about 23.4 degrees, always pointed in the same direction in space. In the same way, you'll get more sun on your shoulders if you're sitting up in your beach chair than you will if you're lounging flat. Some areas of the Earth get more sunlight depending on W. Here its axis is pointing. That, in turn, depends on where the planet is in its revolution around the sun. For example, when it's the winter solstice in the northern hemisphere, the Earth is at a point in its revolution where its axis points away from the sun and the northern hemisphere gets the east amount of sunlight. If you were standing at the North Pole, you wouldn't get any sunlight at all. The southern hemisphere, on the other hand, would get its biggest helping of sunlight all year, making it the summer solstice there. In Antarctica, the sun never sets during this period. Whereas the Earth's axis is tilted directly toward or away from the sun during a solstice, it's tilted directly askew from the sun during an equinox. To use the sunbathing example again, it's as if you rotated your body parallel to the towel clockwise. You'd get the same amount of sun on your front and back as if you had rotated the other way. At this time, the sun is directly above the equator, and that means that day and night are of equal length. GTH. But not for long, a new season is upon you, which means shorter nights, or days. And more, or less, sunlight to enjoy. Get stories like this one in your inbox or your headphones. Sign up for our daily email and subscribe to the Curiosity Daily podcast. To really understand the seasons, you ought to pick up a globe. This day and night globe looks like an ordinary Earth by day, but at night, it turns into